Who can name that character? Who can name the project? You guys can all name the penciler. So that was one of my favorite characters. He's absolutely awesome. Okay, so next question. Who wants to talk boring comic book stuff? Anyone? Okay, me? Okay. So I thought it would be a good idea to do a quick little video about the industry. I know that a lot of you are familiar as readers or fans already, but as for anyone who is interested in a career in comics, or if you, and you know, people have asked, how do I become an inker? Should I become an inker? And I thought I would go ahead and touch on a couple little basics for the general information about a career in the industry and some general stuff about inking. So let's start with the industry in terms of being a freelancer for comic books, as a writer, penciler, inker, colorist. In general, I think it's still all the same. If you're a freelancer, you still have to, you're basically a small business person, so you have to keep in mind the business aspect of doing a career in comics. So basic business knowledge is good to know. Understanding whether or not you need a license in this, you know, for the state that you're living in, or you know, how to save and pay your taxes, because that will not be deducted for you by the company. They pay you all that they owe you, and then it's up to you to pay the taxes and what your responsibility in taxes for the state and the federal. So that's 2. And 3, budgeting for yourself. If you have financial responsibility, if you have family, it would be it's a challenge for sure. You have to account for, first, you know, as I mentioned, like the taxes and you know, insurance. So there's no benefits, so you're on your own for health insurance and such. I recommend marrying someone who has health insurance. Not my case, but we happen to be 2 freelancers, which is living life on the edge. So those are things that you have to consider. Can you, you know, if you have a family, that's kind of risky. Like I said, unless you have a spouse who has benefits, I'd recommend that. Or you can take a job if you're just starting off and you're trying to get into the industry, or you're trying to get, you know, your book launch. It might be a responsible thing to have a job that has benefits. So that's something for you to weigh out. And as for being an inker, I can't tell you whether or not you should be an inker, but I will tell you it is a challenge to make a career or a living as an inker. The pay isn't very high, and royalties don't really exist, you know, anymore. If so, it's pretty low. So you can't really count on that. And if you're working digitally, you will not have original art to sell. You might be able to sell prints, and you can do conventions, but know that it's going to take a lot of your time. So if you have a family, that's going to be quite challenging. If you're a single young person, you know, have fun, go for it. And it's also important to consider why you want to be why you want to be an inker. It's not necessary. Let's see. I don't think it works in the way that some people might assume, where you start off as an inker and you somehow work your way up to be a penciler. They're different jobs entirely. So really understand what, you know, the differences are. And I mean, you can be an inker and continue to practice on the side to be a better penciler, or try to, get your own projects going, or try to get your own book as a penciler. But know that if you're trying to make a living as an inker, you're not going to have a whole lot of time to do other things. If you have bills to pay, if you don't, then yeah, sure. But I think that whatever job you're trying to acquire, spend all your time dedicated to acquiring that job. And generally, should learn to ink? I think so. I think it's a good idea if it's in your interest, and if you are. I think it's a wonderful art. It can be really fun, and if you're a penciler who just wants to learn or to get better at inking themselves, I think there's a lot that you can bring to your work in ink that can be accomplished in the same way as pencils. But yeah, it's definitely worth it to learn. I think anything you learn can only benefit you. If nothing else, it allows you to know exactly what to ask for, and know what's possible, what's not possible, or just to be able to communicate better. So whatever it is that you're thinking of learning, anything you learn can only benefit you. For me, it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. So so there's that, but only you know what's right for you. If you're thinking for inking as a living, and if you're thinking of, it's not a career that's going to make you rich by any means. It's it's doable, but it will take a lot of time, because you need the time that you put in, and the return that you get financially is not that great. So especially now, like I said, if there were royalties that might compensate for it, if you have original art to sell, that might compensate for it. But these days, that's kind of hard to come by. Okay, so generally, that's kind of like the industry. That's just a rough and quick brush over. Let's see. Next, let's talk about, I did, inker and inker's pay. Like I said, it's not high. There are some exceptions, but it could be, I started off at 75, and I took that on, and I accepted that, knowing that the other inkers who started there was much higher than where I was at. But I was okay with that, because I knew there was so much I needed to learn, and I just felt that I can spend my time getting better, and then show that I could be worth more than that. So given time, just proving myself and taking the opportunity to learn. So this is also why it might be okay to accept a lower pay, and that's up to you, what you choose to accept and what's okay with you. It's different from person to person, depends on your situation. But for me, I felt that it was worth it, because there was so much that I needed to learn. I needed the exposure, I needed the experience, and I needed to learn so much about the industry itself. And I wanted to learn about the industry itself, not just inking, but about art in general, about comics in general, how everything works, meeting people, all that. So you have to think about how you can compensate for the low pay, if it's worth it to you. I suggest that if you're just starting off, you're brand new, and you really need to learn, maybe look into working for a company that you have a lot of confidence in. They're good people. You'll learn a lot about the company. If it's a small company, it's okay, because they're looking to grow. If you're looking to grow, maybe you can grow together. and they see that you're willing to invest in them. So maybe when they grow, they'll, continue to invest in you. So that's my advice, especially now with, the industry as it is. There's a lot of people who are trying to, like smaller presses or indie or, just individuals who are trying to launch their own project. You can, it's just, there are more opportunities, but there are smaller opportunities, and there's a chance for you to grow with maybe a smaller team or a partner. So there's that. Like I said, education, experience, exposure, these are all ways for you to compensate for the lower pay. Maybe the money isn't that great, but what you can walk away with in terms of experience is well worth it. But keep that in mind, that you are there to learn. So keep your eyes and ears open and learn, talk to people, network. That's the other valuable thing that you can walk away with, is make some connections, find out who's doing what, learn as much as you can, work with as many people as you can. You never know. Be open to, keep your eyes and ears open for opportunities, people who are kind of in a similar position as you are, different jobs maybe, but similar position. You're trying to grow, you're trying to learn, network with people that names that come up, that you've never heard of, or people that you would never otherwise have a chance to meet. So those are all valuable. Again, there's more ways of getting paid. Financial is just one of them. So keep that in mind, and keep your timeline in mind. What can you afford, to take a lower pay for? And that's definitely something to consider. And at a certain point, if you feel like you're getting better and they're not responding accordingly, if you feel like you can take the risk and you have confidence in yourself, go out, and even if you don't, give it a try, and and make moves. You learn as much as you can, and figure out when you should make moves to grow on on your own. You don't have to wait for someone else to grow for you to grow. So always with the mindset that you're going to grow your own career, your own ways, your own experience, all that. So there's that. And as you learn, or you feel that you're becoming better and you're reaching a higher level, you can always ask for an increase in pay, and do it in a respectful way, in a way that you are communicating your reasons for that pay increase, and speak in a way that is professional, not personal. So you're looking for a raise, justify it. I've been here, I've been dedicated, I put in this amount of time, here's my work from here to here. I feel like that I've grown, and I feel like I'm contributing. I feel like I have benefited the company in this way and that way. So you can always ask for pay increase that way. And if they're not responding accordingly, then it's up to you to decide whether that's acceptable for you, and you stay at where you are, and can you learn more from that, or it's time for you to make other moves. So that that's up to you. So and it's never it's never easy, and you never know for sure. You're always taking risk. So this and I've said that getting the job isn't the toughest part. Keeping the job could be the toughest part, especially in industry like this. So so there's that. There's the pay part. And let's see. I think I've covered that, and pay, and Oh, yes. Okay. So, considering changes in the industry right now, I think that for a few of us who have worked for the big two for quite a while, some are still in it, but a lot of us, there are only so many books being published, and they have only so much budget. And it's understandable that there will be a rotation in creators. They can't keep everyone, especially like those who have been in the industry for a long time, because when you can hire newer, younger creators, especially with the market being open to, with digital artists who can work for less from other parts of the world, from all over the world. So there's a larger pool for companies to to choose from, or they can have a greater selection. And if they can, and they do, and it's business wise, I get it, I understand. If you can operate for less, and if the budget doesn't allow for for certain creators or talent, or those who have been around, you kind of have to go with the lower budget, give the new kids a chance. And that's just the way that's business. I get it. So those of us who are still in it might look for other opportunities, because if we feel like we're ready to grow, and you can only go so far with a company, and you're ready to take a chance, do your own projects. And as I've mentioned, like or a couple of the things that you're looking to add is exposure and experience. And if you feel like you have enough exposure and you've grown enough of a fan base that you're ready to do your own thing, start your own project, your own creator own, then I think a lot of my colleagues are doing that, and we're ready to take those risks for a higher pay. So that's kind of where it is for a lot of us. And I think that to expand in what you do, so you say you can, more than just doing the art, you can do the writing yourself. Maybe as a writer you do the art, but I don't know if anyone does that. Or if you're an inker, you might want to write and and pencil and do it all yourself, just one, for budget reasons, and two, maybe you just want to test your skills. So so I think a lot of us are doing that, venturing to uncharted territories and taking our chances just to see what happens. And which brings me to the other thing that I was addressing. Am I retiring? I'm not retiring. I think I'll always ink because I enjoy it very much. I will entertain special projects here and there, but in terms of keeping the same schedule as I used to, I think I'm going to have to give that up, because I haven't slept for years, and I'm finally sleeping, and I find it to be a wonderful thing. And health wise, I think most of us have had health issues that we've dealt with, and that's kind of brought has been a reality check. And we really, when you're young, you rebound fast, but I think you reach a point where I think a lot of us are not willing to sacrifice our health anymore, because it becomes quite critical. So am I retiring? Not necessarily. I'm just not doing those monthly books, and there are definitely tempting offers, and it's so hard to say no. But I have to priorities are different now. So like I said, if special projects come, absolutely I would love to do covers, but I don't know if they have inkers doing covers anymore. But I would love to do I'd love to do special covers, just to still kind of contribute and be in the game. But I will have to explore my own growth too. So that's where I'm at. So hope to be able to bring you more. I like to see more of what I can do. So it's going to be quite an adventure. So yeah, so let me just go ahead and close this video because it's been quite a while and it's just me talking. I haven't really shown any art other than the beginning. If you've been with me this whole time, thank you for sticking around, and I hope I answered some of the questions that you've asked. And I'm trying to make notes as you ask these questions because I think a lot of you make great points and bring up good questions. I just have to write it down so I don't forget about them, and I'll try to do a few of these videos where we're just answering questions and addressing issues. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here, and I will see if I can show more fun art that isn't just my big fat head talking to you. So thanks, guys. Thanks for the support. Stay tuned. Let's see what comes up. Okay, take care.